I'm here with Ezri, aka the Messiah. What's happening, man?
Nothing much, man. Working, staying busy.
You've been on a journey, man. I mean, like acting, rapping, signing with, Mass Appeal, a lot of things going on. What did it take to get here, man?
Really just, I would say, honing in on my music and making sure the things I want to say in my music and how I want my music to sound is properly portrayed on my behalf so people perceive it correctly. So I think just really honing in on that and making sure that, what I put out is like just authentic to me and the person I am. Because people could relate to that and they respect it and it gives them something to like believe in, I guess, not to sound cliche, but like it's just something they can relate to and like I noticed that like my music often like gives people some type of hope. So really just trying to, I guess, be myself, you know what I'm saying, be one-on-one.
Where do you think it all started? When you look at, this path you've taken, where was the beginning, if you had to pick one?
Definitely like performing at my cousin's quinceañera when I was like 11 years old. That was like my first time ever performing anything that I had written. So after that, my family was just adamant that I like keep at it, and my mom started booking me studio sessions, and like so that was definitely the start, that day.
Throughout your life and especially in your music, you credit your mom a lot as a source of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about her influence.
My mom is just like the strongest person I know. She goes through a lot and she like takes on a lot of responsibility, and even through like battling cancer and now fibromyalgia, she still like makes sure she checks in my emails and makes sure she stays on me about checking my emails and responding to emails and making sure I get places on time and like just overachieving. A mother, there's a lot of mothers who don't do enough as a mother, and then there's mothers who are good mothers, and then my mother's like an overachieving mother. So that's just like what I respect about her and what I love about her.
So having your mom there to push you throughout this, it must be huge, because a lot of artists, a lot of people, don't have that kind of support and that kind of, encouragement around them. Who else in your life really encouraged you and pushed you throughout this?
I would have to say my father for sure, you know what I'm saying? Being the fact that I turned to him from somebody who didn't really want me to rap, because he was a Jehovah's Witness and he was raised Jehovah's Witnesses. So even though he's like a fan of rap and hip hop, it was just something that he thought was like worldly, So turning him into just like a hardcore fan and the person who's screaming the loudest at my shows is something that just like inspires me. My DJ, we always have conversations about, where we see ourselves. And my guy Jordan, he's over there. Where's he at? Yeah, there he goes in the car.
Manager, right?
Yeah, big bro. Just motivates me to just keep working hard, and even when I like, whenever I'm down, and just everybody around me, really, everybody in my immediate circle, and then even outside of that, everybody that supports me just is like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think that, you can have like fans, and I don't want to say the word fans and it have like a negative connotation, because I'm fans of people. I'm fans of my fans, if that makes sense. But I just appreciate them appreciating me, and so all of that inspires me to just keep doing what I'm doing and keep putting out what I'm putting out.
When did people around you start to take you seriously as a musician?
In middle school, they was laughing. I would say probably like around age 14 when like DJ Stepflaw started playing me on the radio. Because that was kind of just like eye-opening for people. They was like, I just went from rapping at lunch and, posting my videos on YouTube and not even telling nobody at school about them because they were just, kids was cruel, you know what I mean? But I would say like, 14, when like Flaw started playing my music, and then adults that listened to 107.9 started respecting it, and EV started playing my music. Really like when people that had a certain name in the city started getting involved in like appreciating my music, I would say. So yeah, that was like 14.
What do you think led to that? For those kind of people in those positions to be taking you seriously like that?
Definitely me just going out and being out and about, with my mom in the city, and my energy, I guess, just attracting the positive energies, and people just respecting, and then having the product that they respect. So all of that. Yeah.
Can you think of a moment maybe early in your career where you knew that things were going to change?
Change, like, in what way would you say? Like, just like,
so just like many other artists, you might have started out like you said, writing raps in the lunchroom, things like that. You did see things make it to the radio, but again, you in the beginning you were a kid with a dream, just like so many kids who might be listening now. When did you really see a change and think, wait a second, like that I might be on, or I might be able to get on?
I think there's like, you have those, it's like that constant battle. Like at age 14, when I was getting played on the radio, I probably thought that, you know what I'm saying? And eventually you get numb to the feeling of being played on the radio and doing shows in the same venues. And, I think it's more about like just having like a long-term vision and then just constantly attacking that. So it's like forever changing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, but I constantly, I always believe from the beginning that I had potential to be what I want to be. So from the beginning, really, I always knew.
So you kind of see the progress you're making in levels, and you don't get too complacent, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a battle. Like I said, sometimes you are in those ruts, but you definitely have to just work through them. And like I said, just always keep an eye on like what you see for yourself long term. So that goes for everybody, music or everyday life,
So you started acting, man. You landed roles. You landed a role on a hit show, Empire.
Yeah.
You acted in a movie titled The Land.
Mm-hmm.
You made some waves doing that. How did acting become such a big part of your story?
I would really say it's kind of like an overnight thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though that's like, I mean, that's just the truth at the end of the day. Somebody reached out, Stephen Cable Jr., the man who directed The Land, he reached out to me via email and social media. Even went to my dad's barbershop to try and get me to be a part of his film. And so I had never acted before. I think maybe I had tried out for a film like years before, you know what I mean? Just on some like, I guess, let me try it out because the opportunity somehow came about. But other than that, like, I never really thought about acting. I definitely saw myself eventually probably like, being in a movie, but like almost as like a celebrity guest star or something. So rapping I would have already succeeded and been where I want to be rapping, and then, delve into music. But delve into acting. But acting just came like out the blue, really. So yeah.
What about the Empire gig? How did you get an opportunity like that at a time where I mean, we're talking about one of the hottest shows on TV,
Yeah. That came about after just meeting an agent that was at Sundance Film Festival. So The Land ended up making it to Sundance, and me and the whole gang traveled out there, and one of my homies' agents just liked, my performance in the film, and we exchanged contacts, and he started sending me like, different opportunities and different, scripts and whatnot, and I sent him back auditions, via email. And one day, one of them was just Empire, and the character's name was Ezzy. And so, after getting the role, I come to find out that they researched me and kind of wrote the role around my character. So the character, his name is Zaya, and he's 16-year-old kid that is super smart, but his heart lies in music, and so he wants to sign to Empire. and Cookie and everybody else wants him to go to college, and so that's kind of where I was at one point in life, and so they wrote the character like relating to that aspect of my life. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it seems like, that's straight out of something that one of the themes you convey in your music, being that kid who has to balance, school, the pressure from mom to do well in school, and then have to, watch a music career that seems to be blossoming and balance that life.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I just remember being in my dorm writing raps and instead of studying, and it was just always like I just could never balance it. That was the thing. Like, it was a difficult thing for me to balance, and so eventually after 2 semesters at Kent State, I put it on pause and decided to just pursue music and acting full-fledged. But I mean, aside from that, I was taking college classes when I was in high school. I went to MC² STEM University, MC² STEM, and so I was at Cleveland State University in Tri-C taking classes before I even graduated high school. So if I were to go back now, I would be a junior in college. I would go back a junior. I think I got enough credits for that.
The decision to dive into music and acting and kind of step away from school for a minute. How did Mom Dukes feel about that?
I mean, at first she was just like, you're going to school, you know what I'm saying? You need the paperwork for society and blah, blah, blah. And I gave it a shot, and just after, I guess, just seeing how it affected me, she decided to let me step away from it, momentarily. So it's been working out, I would say. I've hit some stepping stones since then, so let's keep it rolling.
And you've kept it rolling, man. Like, when you look at the things that you've been able to accomplish as a young artist, it's amazing, man. So
Appreciate it.
What led to the deal with Mass Appeal? I mean, I know a lot of things did, but what ultimately led to that kind of moment?
So that came about also through The Land. Nas was executive producing the film, and he was producing the soundtrack for the film. So just through me making music and the director already being a fan of my music, it was just like he was playing it for Nas in the studio, and he was rocking with it. And I met him a few times. Well, actually, no, the first time I actually met him was at Sundance. But prior to that, he liked my music and decided to put a few of my songs in the soundtrack, which was really dope. And after meeting him and just like building with him, for some months, we decided to work together. And I decided to like partner with Mass Appeal. So we put out Be Right Back October 27th. And we just keep working, man. I'm working on more stuff. Today I was working on more stuff, and just daily.
Is there any added pressure making music now that you're on a label?
A little bit, but at the same time, my label is like a very understanding label, and they're what you would call like an independent label. So they just really support, the artist's independence and creative freedom. So everything is really, the timeline is really just based around, my work ethic and how I work, and really how fast I get things done. So it's not really much added pressure anymore than it is just the pressure from myself to just produce more constantly.
Let's step back for a minute to the moment that you signed the papers, for Mass Appeal. Nas is someone people would say is, the greatest rapper of all time. There's people who say that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, what was that like for you? Like, all that work that you had done, and for the people around you, like, what kind of energy, what did that feel like?
It was, I think it was like, I actually signed like right around my birthday, June 17th, 2017. And I just remember like, it just added like a boost of energy to, everything that I'd already had going on. And so I was just, really ready to, get working on everything from touring to just building the team, building like a solid team around me. Like, going to Mass Appeal and walking into the offices, it's like everybody's there to help you, and, everybody's just working together and working for each other. So it's just like a really family oriented vibe that I appreciate about the label. So shout out to Mass Appeal.
Tell me about the artistry that went into the EP Be Right Back.
So Be Right Back is pretty much like I would say it's an EP that portrays the timeline from me graduating high school and going into college to, you know, putting it on pause and finally signing this deal. And so it's like Be Right Back represents kind of 3 different stages. So I went from telling my neighborhood I'm gonna be right back, you know, I gotta go to college and I gotta go to college and, you know, try to hone in on what my mom wants me to do. Then it went from that to telling my school, my university, I'm gonna be right back because I'm going to, you know, pursue what I love to do, which is music. And now it's to now, which is Be Right Back. I'm gonna put out this project and I'm gonna be right back because I'm working on some more crap. So,
what did you want people to take away from that story and that project?
Really, I just wanted people to understand, you know, what I was going through during the times of like not wanting to be in school, because I know I was not the only person that didn't like being in school when I was walking through the dorms. And so the music was just like, I had all my studio equipment hooked up in my dorm room, and so the music was just kind of like an escape, even though I was still on campus. The music was just like, I would skip classes to record, and like, you know, it was just, that just goes back to that unbalance I was talking about. But I just recognized that like, that was something that I had created in that time, and so I figured I'm not the only person that can be feeling this, you know. So I did the partnership with Mass Appeal, and I wanted their assistance in putting it out. And so we're pushing it right now, and people are definitely able to relate to the story that I told in the project. So I'm proud of like the piece that I made.
There's a song on the EP where, you know, a friend of yours breaks down, and you're comforting them, and they talk about, you know, being tired of being broke, you know. Whose idea was it, or, you know, what led to that being included on the album? Because I thought it was really moving, you know.
So it's crazy, like, you know, there's different, there's like a few different like voice memos or audio recordings throughout the project, and one of them out of like I think the 4 or 5 was intentional, and all the rest were like unintentional recordings of like Pro Tool sessions that I didn't press stop on, or being in a car and my phone is recording and I didn't know it, or different things like that. And so I gathered just all these pieces and placed them around in you know, the sections where I felt they best fit the project. And so really like I wanted to include them because they were just real life moments, and they expressed like real life emotion, and from, you know, the laughing in the car with my homies to the guy on the intro, you know, showing his respects to me, to my homie breaking down crying, to my mom's voicemail. All of it is just like, you know, real life experiences that I wanted people to also feel and like live with as well. So they just came about like naturally, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really dope to hear that it is like, you know, authentic, and that you did put that real part of yourself in your music, you know, because I think it's something few and far between, especially nowadays, that people get that personal, you know, with their projects now.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a point in time where I was thinking of like concepts and of skits and ways to tie the project together conceptually, because the songs, they all kind of have like different vibes, I guess, and there's like, you know, they show my range, and so I wanted like a cohesive theme throughout the project. But after just like stumbling upon some of the recordings, I was just like, you know, these would be perfect, because these were taken throughout the times that I was going through while I was recording the music, and everything just fit perfectly together. Like I couldn't even have planned it. So
You talked a little bit about your range. You know, you're able to be on a track like Goodbye that kind of has a traditional hip hop feel, but then you also have other songs that kind of have trap elements. You know, you're kind of mixing it up. How do you balance that, especially being at a label like Mass Appeal where maybe people expect you to have a certain sound, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Mass Appeal is like all for artists' creative control, and so they just give their feedback, and at the end of the day, it's like what I want to put out is what we put out. But as far as just like balancing it, just on the interim, like I really just try to like incorporate elements of what I like in music, and so when I get my producers together, you know, I try to also executive produce, and I explain to them, you know, that what I want, and they kind of just, you know, we build it together, and they're able to add elements of hip hop and elements of trap and elements of, you know, R&B, and just, you know, they have a wide range themselves. They produce pop music and rock music and country, whatever. They could do whatever. So it's really beneficial having them in the studio, and just like also being as creatively open as I am. So it's not difficult really.
How has you know, popularity altered the relationships in your life?
There's just a lot of people that want to kick it that I never kicked it with before. You know, so it's just like I'll be like we never kicked it before. You know what I mean? Why you want to kick it now? But other than that, like, I don't know. Some people think I'm like further ahead than I am. At least in my eyes, I'm not where I want to be yet. So, but there are people that, like, I guess expect me to act a certain way and, you know, treat people a certain way, and they just like surprised when I'm a nice guy and I'm just like regular, and, you know, so people are just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of love though, so there's like, that's one thing I do appreciate is that, like, you know, when I release music and release videos, like, there's hardly any negative comments, and even like when I had a video on World Star once, and that's like the main place people just go to leave negative comments, and it's just like a lot of positive energy, and so I just appreciate stuff like that.
Seems like you're getting back what you put into it, so.
Or definitely, I would say I definitely try to put in positive, so I'm glad that that's what I'm receiving for sure.
What about the relationships with people who you were close to, you know, before all of this?
Music, I mean, the business can be stressful, so, you know, I go through it with the people I was with before all this. If anything, it makes us stronger, you know, as a team. And, you know, I've lost, like, some, like, friends that I thought I was close with, but, you know, you just have to learn that, you know, people grow and people change, and you got to keep doing you at the end of the day and not really let it affect you, because, you know, it's probably not affecting them.
You were you grew up in Neal Terrace, correct?
Not really, like, kind of at some point. Like, I grew up on 65th and Norwood on the east side, and then my family moved to North Carolina when I was 5, and then me and my mom moved to Florida when I was 7, and then we moved back to Cleveland on the west side when I was 11. And then, yeah, so from there, I was like pretty much, I lived in like a house before I moved to the hood, but on the west side, I mean. But,
right.
Yeah, I stayed in Neal Terrace for like 2.5 years, 3 years. We just recently moved out. So, yeah,
what's that
it's been, well, yeah. I'm sure I was about to answer the question you were gonna ask. So
yeah,
it's just a blessing, really. And even now, you know, we moved into a crib that's in Brooklyn, Ohio, which is just like a little suburb. It's still very much Cleveland, but it's a little safer than where we were for sure. So, and even now, you know, my family is like looking at homes in California. So that's what I'm excited about, really.
Who does an artist need around them to kind of keep the vision together, in your opinion?
Definitely people who just have their best interest at heart, and people who they can trust, and people who, as bad as it sounds, like I have a lot of people that work harder for me at what I'm trying to do than I do. So that inspires me to just work harder, because those people are working hard for my career. You know what I mean? So people like that, you know, people that are just willing to go to hell for you, and not go to hell. That's probably not the hell and high water, right? Ain't that what they say? Go through hell and high water for you. So yeah, those are the type of people I keep around.
So sacrifice, you know, people who work hard.
Yeah.
It kind of seems, when people credit certain things to luck, you know, what's your attitude towards that?
I never really believed in luck. I was never like a superstitious person. So I would be like, yo, I mean, I've been working for this, and, you know, I've been blessed to be like given like certain opportunities, and so that's just the way the universe works. That's how I look at it, I guess.
Agreed. And I think it's important to highlight that, because, you know, there might be some people who see you in a certain position, and it's important that they know that they can do that if they work hard.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think that's what's one of the main reasons, you know, why I'm just like, I just want to move in a way that inspires people, you know what I mean? So instead of just telling people what to do and like trying to, you know, express what I feel is right and wrong, you know, I just try to live life a certain way and, you know, lead by example.
You know, in many ways, you've had a level of success that a lot of young artists, like, they dream about that kind of stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a time where you really felt the sting of failure and you learned from it?
I mean, I would say like
Undefeated Ezzy.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say like failure just sounds like, it kind of sounds like it's over with to me, but I guess that's not really the case. But like, I mean, there's like fails, yeah, throughout the whole thing, throughout the whole journey. It's just something you got to pick yourself up from and just dust it off and keep it pushing. But like, you know, there's shows going bad where I'm like, man, well, I would say like the most trying thing is like times where you just have writer's block and you like, I don't know what to write about, or I don't feel like I have anything to say, and you just gotta just dig a little deeper and just continue to live life and, you know, go through real life experiences. So everything is like able to be overcome.
You know, you spent time with some major names in rap and elsewhere. Kendrick, Chance, Nas. You know, what's it like to interact with these people, and if you've taken away anything from those interactions?
I mean, you know, there's some people I met that have been jerks, and then there's some people I met that have been super down to earth and cool and supportive. And so, you know, you learn from both aspects, and you learn, one, not to be a jerk to people because you know how it makes you feel, and then two, you know, just like, you know, you pick up on people's work ethic, and you pick up, you know, so that also inspires you, and you just pick up on people's energy and how they move with other people and how they interact with the crowd when they perform, and, you know, how they are when they like record. And so it's all just like a very inspiring, like, you know, those relationships are often like inspiring, whether it's negative or positive, you know. They always like just teach you something. But, you know, being around Nas, I definitely picked up just like, that guy, he's just like a, I don't know, he just like got a GOAT essence when you're around him. So I just want to, I aspire to just like move like him one day. Is how he moves. He's a smooth criminal.
Is there an added element of anxiety when you're like talking to somebody like Nas?
No, I wouldn't say so. Only because like I'm naturally a quiet person, I think, at least as far as people tell me, you know. But so, you know, I'm often quiet as is. But, you know, once I'm comfortable with somebody, you know, it's just regular, you know. It's nothing out of the normal, really.
So Nas is...
He's a quiet person as well. So.
Oh, sorry about that, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my fault. But, yeah, he's a quiet person as well, you know. So.
Kind of vibes well together with you.
Yeah, it just, the vibe, you just playing music and, you know, giving feedback on each other. And It's cool.
So Nas is in my top 5. Who are your top 5 MCs? I know it's a loaded question, but I gotta ask you.
Yeah. Man, I mean,
Don't be scared.
it changes like so much though, you know?
Yeah.
Cause like, well, at least, you know, what I listen to changes like so much. But I would say out of people that inspire me the most, probably Lil Wayne. Drake. Kanye West. J. Cole. And also Chief Keef.
Wow, diverse right there with that last one.
Yeah, that's my top 5. That's like, but like, I don't know. It could be a 6-man that switches out all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I remember hearing that Wayne was one of the people that got you rapping in the first place. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, really the first person was Soulja Boy. But that's only because, you know, that's like when I was 11, that's what was all over YouTube, you know what I'm saying? So I had no choice but to be in middle school and everybody be talking about that. And so I go home and like I was fascinated with the dance moves and the clothing and the writing on the shades, and it was just like a whole new wave. And so I remember when that time came to perform the song at my cousin Quinceañera when I was 11, I did it to a Soulja Boy beat, and so I can only, you know, give my hats off to him for that, you know.
What do you think is next for Cleveland's music scene?
I don't really know, man. I just hope to see everybody just continue to prosper and prosper more than they are, you know what I mean? And I don't know what it would take necessarily, but I would just encourage people to keep doing what they do and try to do it better. And, you know, there's often times where cities have like spurts of like popularity, but I think those waves like all die down, so I don't think that's something necessarily like the city should be chasing for or, you know, aiming towards. One thing that always like helped me, I feel, just like exceed in what I wanted to do is focusing just on me and kind of even separating myself from the scene, you know what I mean? And just like really honing in on my craft and not really paying too much attention to a lot that's going on outside of, you know, my studio session. And so that's one thing that's helped me progress the way I have, I would say. So yeah, I would just encourage people to keep doing them. And I will hope to see everybody just keep glowing up. You know, I'm happy to see where it's at right now. And I think we got like some artists that are definitely bringing some popularity to the city. So I appreciate all of it.
So what about you, man? What's next for you?
I'm working on music, man. So I'm gonna just keep putting out songs, and I'm working on a project right now, but I might release some songs before that, and we got a video releasing Friday. I don't even know if this is gonna be out before the video, but video releasing the day after tomorrow. And got another video I'm editing right now. Another video I have a treatment for that I'm planning on shooting. So visuals and just more content and just taking more meetings with companies and building a team and just, you know, keep getting stronger and stronger.
Dope.
Yep.
Well, thank you for doing this, man. You know, like, it's really inspiring to see you. You know, I've known of you for a long time, and it's inspiring to see the person that you've developed into being. And I wish you continued success, man.
Well, appreciate that, bro. Definitely.
Be Right Back. Check out the EP.
Yeah, Be Right Back. EP came out October 23rd, so you're already late. Go watch it. Go check it out now. Watch the video to Be Right Back. You know, the title track. It's on YouTube. Like I said, more videos coming soon. But yeah, everythingezri.com.
Ezri.
Everythingezri.com.
I'm from Cleveland.com. Let's go.
Yes, sir.